Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're just getting off the last raid, Hold Fast, and we're going into a new FM cycle with a new FM ship and a new FM target and new FM prizes. So let's see how this all works out. And I was wrong about the armors. We'll get into that. So,
Lots of lots, lots of FM things going on.
very true. Lady Cat,
Hello.
hello. Magic Mike
Howdy doody.
and Derpy.
I was right about the armors.
What's your beef?
Hey,
Hey, and Kenny, I guess Ice is letting you back on the internet right now.
Yeah, I slipped through the Iron Curtain.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So let's move on to the slide. Okay, fixed an issue where some players were unable to access the assault campaign and improved general loading issues on world map. How is everybody doing with HTML5 at this point in time? If you use it.
I quit using it because of the problem with it not showing the health of the ship in the top left. They've said they fixed it, and then it wasn't fixed. I don't know if it's fixed now or not.
Okay.
I'm still having the loading
I am
problem.
personally,
Go ahead, Derby.
I'm up to using it for 99% of my gameplay.
What's the 1% where you're not using it?
Just if something isn't working, and if I need to see my tactical ranges in base planner, or something like that. But
okay. Alrighty. Well, if that's it, let's move on to the next one. All right. We are in this week. We're going to have the VXP weekend starting on Friday. We've already talked enough about the FM. The July contest, no announcement yet. That's going to be some sort of movie poster contest. And
Robin tonight. She said it was tonight.
Yeah. And also the Saw Factory. And according to BP next week, we're also expecting to get a new PvE calendar for August and September. That's not here, but that was in BP next week. Oops, yeah, there it is. I just missed the spacing. Whoops. Yeah, and PvE Hall calendars. All three should, in theory, drop tonight. Then Bounty and yeah, we still don't have any announcement what's going to happen the week of July 28th. That'd be great if they could put that on the PvE calendar.
or maybe there just be nothing that week.
That'd be great too.
maybe it's when they give us the armors for the Everest. I don't know. I don't know. It's the TBC, to be Canadian. We'll have to see what that is. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next one. All right. The new FM. We have 4 weeks instead of the normal 3 weeks. This should repeat again in September because of the extra weeks, but who knows what's going to happen. We've lost the 160. We've lost the 132 and we gained the 160. We'll see if we can get somebody to test drive the 160 with the wrong ships. Maybe not. And we got two new armors, which we'll get into more later. So this extra week really depends on where you are with your upgrades. Because a lot of people got, there was a deal out there to get to U3. Then there was also 10 days of upgrade tokens. And then we should get another 8 days of upgrade tokens next week, in theory. So there is a chance that you can get some things done with some downtime with your Everest. So, any thoughts on this part? Okay. I'm sorry, I was referring to the Mutineer, but in regards to the upgrading. Okay, and let's move on. All right, we get 12,000 points for the new target, and everything else has pretty much remained the same. Significant points boost, but as we'll go through, we will see that this Reaver Iceport is not intended for your Praetorian. They've put a lot of things in there to defeat it. But I've seen on Discord that people have been able to get through it using their Praetorians. But let's move on to the next slide. Whoops, somehow we got the same one again. Hopefully that wasn't something important. As you see here, the cost of the new armors. The new armors are for siege, which I find to be confusing. Derpy was right, because we are stuck.
Hold on. Say that again.
Yeah.
Somebody make note of it.
Yeah, even though it doesn't make any fucking sense, he was right, because right now we're stuck with tier 8 armors to put on a tier 9 ship for the Everest. Well, we had tier 9 ships for the upcoming Gladius, but now these are going to, as we get into a little bit, they're tier 9.5, and we're still stuck with last generations to put on our Everest. So whether it makes sense or not, that's up for debate.
So what they're doing, with my understanding, is they're slowly over the next couple months, weeks, months, year, I don't know, they're giving us more and more tech upgrades, flagship, etc. for our Everests in an attempt to prolong the life cycle of them and just spread everything out.
Are they crazy? I mean,
yeah, because we already have the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Why would we build a ship now with old stuff, knowing that at any time they're going to drop something new? We'll just have to refit it. We don't like this dribbling of technology. They need to throw it out and let us get it on and start using it. I'm not refitting, knowing the stuff is going to dribble out over the next couple months. It's not, I don't think it's fair.
Was that a Marvin Gaye quote?
Is it?
Well, you said let's get it on, but okay.
I didn't. No, I don't, whatever. But I could sing it, but yeah, I'm just not happy about that. I don't think it's right to do.
Well, what worries me is they are not telling us when they're releasing the tech. So maybe I say, okay, this armor, I don't know when it's coming out. I'm going to leave everything blank for now. But then in 3 months from now, I'm like, okay, it's been forever. Where the hell is the armor? I'm just going to put the older armor on. And then as soon as I do that, they release the new ones. So I would appreciate it. I would appreciate being told, hey, our general plan is to release the armor somewhere around a week from now, a month from now, 3 months from now, with a general plan for the flagship. Rather than telling us, hey, a month from now, you're going to get the flagship in pillage or in the raid or whatever.
Yeah, we need a plan for it.
They might drop it with the flag.
Yeah, it could be there, or it could be a similar planning exercise like we've seen with the Saw Factory, where it's supposed to come out in a week for the last 3 months or 2 months.
I mean, soon.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's whatever I do. that's when they're going to drop it, is the week after. So if I put the armor on now, they'll drop the armor in a week. But if I put an engine on now, then they're going to drop an engine in a week. I always make the wrong choice. So you guys just do whatever I don't do, and you should be fine.
Yeah, and as you see here, the cost of these two armors is double what we had for the Punisher. The cost.
And the claim was half.
Freak out moment number.
But the Punisher had 6 armor slots. The Gladius, the new siege ship, only has 2 armor slots. So you're actually having to earn less points than you were before, because you needed to fill 6 armor slots instead of 2. Even though they doubled the price, you're still ahead.
Well, yeah, instead of like giving us a break to give us time to get the old armor from the Praetorian cycle.
Well, my worry is, do we also, because I don't know why the Old Glory is the siege one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why
That's
is
the
that
skirmish
third?
one.
Is that the skirmish one? What is the siege one?
The
rock block. The rock block. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going to assume that next month we get a tier 9.5 siege engine, or are you supposed to use? Okay, that's our assumption. So yeah, that's because that could be the other reason. Because it's actually before you were having to spend a lot more FM time in order to get the armors. Now you're not. So just to throw that out there. So let's see these new armors. All right. This is the Xinthium Isotope Y2C. We see the same actual number of armor points, double the weight, a 50% increase in we've gone from radioactive to ballistic damage. So this will be a ballistic hull, the Gladius, and we've doubled the survival numbers. And we're going to see the same exact thing on the radioactive siege armor. So what we know at this point, based on what they've told us, 2 armor plates, ballistic weapon, and I guess that's about. And we're going to have lower actual survival numbers based on our armor, because the Punisher, which is the armor on the right, had 6 slots, while the Gladius is only going to have 2. So we are going to have a reduction of survival from the armor itself. Any thoughts, anybody?
So they essentially just gave us a double armor point and they gave us a double cost. Excuse me. They gave us a double cost armor that has as much survival as a regular one.
Yeah, you're as far as the points. Yeah, the points are going to be twice as much per armor, but you only need to put a third on you had. So you're still ahead as far as that, because they said that it's only going to be 2 armor slots per ship, if that's your question.
He's doing the math. He's trying to work out that survival number and the number of slots.
Well, I was comparing this more to like the Mutineer armor than the Siege one.
Okay. Kelvin, no, it's obviously going to be, you see ballistic damage of +3. The one on the left is the new one. The one on the right is the one that we got for the Punisher. So it's going to be ballistic. So, okay.
Well, that's why we needed new armor.
Yeah, if they did that switch over. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that makes it make more sense why they had to give us armor. Just because it went from a radioactive ship to a ballistic ship. And the damage numbers.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess it was planned out that way. And I expect a pretty big increase in the base armor of the ship because we're not seeing an increase in the armor, and we're seeing a decrease in total survival based on armor. So I expect a fairly healthy jump up in the base armor of the hull and the Gladius. So, alrighty, let's move on. All right, the strategy guide. We'll just go through this. We have a picture of it, and is anybody jumping out there to volunteer to hit this with Praetorians?
No.
I've done it once. I'm happy to do it again, but my fleet is not fully fixed.
Okay. Meaning it's not going to make it through?
It will make it through.
Okay. Well, let's go through step by step all the components of the target, and then we will look at the map, and then we'll have Derpy or Kenny or whoever or both run through it and see what happens. We have the meteor mortar turret, which is an old PvP player turret, at least in appearance. It can mortars can go over mountains, as you see at the bottom. It's long range, high counter ability, anti-explosive only, which means you want your Gale 4s. If you're low on Gale 4s, there is the Riot TLC, or not TLC, regular campaign, where you can get a fleet of Riots for free in the skirmish one, and you can melt them down for extra Gale 4s. As we'll see later, there's anti-penetrative, and you can earn Saturns in the FM, and I think they have a couple on them, and you can melt them down and get additional missile defense system 3s. So if you're running low, let's move on to the next one. All right, missiles cannot go over mountains. And then, like I mentioned earlier, it's highly counterable, anti-penetrative only. So missile defense system 3 is the way you want to go. Long range, no splash, yada, yada, yada.
I like they're telling us whether it's counterable or not. So good job on that, Kix.
Okay. Liga took 4 hours in the 160 with the K2 on him. But he drove horribly, so.
Drive better, Liga.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this is the one. I'm assuming there's only one, and it has low reload because the damage is high, the range is extremely long, not blocked by mountains, and again, penetrative and very low counterability. So this is your guaranteed damage part of the target, and it targets the ships with the highest health.
The King Killer. I like that. I don't like it though. I don't like the target.
Yeah. There's all sorts of problems in there that we don't want to get into.
How could you like that? Yeah.
I don't know that they named it King Killer. I like.
Okay,
So why does it say? So it says counterability is anti-penetrative. So do your missile defense system 3s fire at this one time?
I'm assuming it has high flak evade. Oh, as far as I'm assuming it only shoots at it at one time because it's a missile, and I'm assuming that it has fairly high flak evade, so the chances of hitting it are low. I don't know.
This fun for your T-bird goes away. Okay.
Okay. And it does also have splash. This one just keeps on getting better and better.
So it targets the highest health ship, but also has splash.
Yes. So
If you can tell what ship has the highest health going into that, and you drive that separate from everything else,
it's not going to like, oh, we're not going to fire that guy. That dude's over there. I mean, because if you drive with a tank, it's going to hit that ship first anyways, right? So I'm assuming the flag is going to have more armor, and it's they're expecting you to drive with a flag, but not have it, like, because as soon as it runs into, it only matters as far as targeting the ship with the highest health if they're all stacked, correct?
yes.
So if you're running a tank to get away from the splash, it's whatever you introduce first. Unless it takes you so long to get to it because of the extremely long range that even if you're running a tank, when you first encounter it, the flag is going to be the first one that's going to get fired at. But after that, as you close the range, the rest of them are going to be up to be fired at if they have higher health than the tank does. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, this is what you would call the guaranteed damage high altitude missile turret. But this one does go over mountains. That's why they added the high altitude in there, because normal missiles don't do that. So, alrighty, let's move on. Now we get to the ships, and the big thing I was right about last week was that we would get a new target and the ships wouldn't move. We have the Command Gore Saber, which has a combination of rockets and missiles and anti-rocket countermeasures in order to make things much more difficult on your Praetorians, because the Everest is a mortar ship, not a rocket ship. The rockets are not counterable, but they have medium range, which I guess means that the same range that we have. I don't know. We need to come up with a better range thing. Are you in range of? I don't know. And rockets are blocked by mountains. The Reaver missiles are by mountains as well, but it does. The Reaver missile does have remote targeting, where they remote target off of other ships or turrets or both. I don't know. But the damage is listed as very high and the counterability is very low. So, alrighty. And let's move on to the next ship. The Reaver Hellstar. I think I don't know if they made the change in the forums. This was originally the Reaver Hunter Mortar, which is, people that have been playing the game for a while still remember when that was introduced.
Don't like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is not the Reaver Hunter Mortar. That would
It's not. It's not the 100-killer mortar.
Okay, thank you, God. Thank goodness, because it would launch up in the air, and we had subs, and it would wait for you to surface, and then out of nowhere, it would just start fire. It would just come and find you, but it would hang up in the air forever. That was not fair. Wasn't one of Robot's best days. Low counterability, can go over mountains, long range. And again, the same sort of thing with the remote targeting for the Hyper Reaver missile. And again, I don't know what medium range is. So until we get involved with it. So, I think that's the last. Oh, we got one more. The frost field is basically there just to keep your Praetorians out. It slows down the ship and the reload on the weapon. So, but the Everest, has immunity to it, and slow effects don't work. So, it's basically there just to keep the Praetorians out of the target or disadvantaged in the target.
And we've been told that the Everest on the stat block says that it has a resistance to these ice fields, but it doesn't quantify that.
Yeah, well, here it says immunity. So that means, I'm assuming, just ignores it?
Well, I guess.
Yeah. Because it's, they say it's not a slow effect, so they've, opened up their magic box and came up with another effect, and it appears just to be like a yes-no thing, and the Everest says no to it, and everything else says yes to it. So it basically just keeps all other targets or other ships in this target. So
I can't bring in my Conqueror ships.
yeah,
You bring in my Hellstorms, whatever they are.
well, you wouldn't be able to bring those in anyways, but they're just trying to limit the success of the Praetorians in these targets. Derpy, if you want to get ready for hitting the 160, because we're going to go to the I think the next one is just a picture of the target. Oops. Oh, you're going to have to hit refresh. Sorry about that. I'm going to take you off present.
Still holding fast, eh?
Yeah. Now I added it since it was refreshed. There we go. All right. It's a little blurry, but you can see that the ice fields are just appear to be permanent on the target. Avoidable in some places, but not in others. And Derpy's about ready to let me know when you want me to screen share you, Derpy.
I'm ready right now.
Okay. All right, we're switching over to Derpy. And kids, this is not recommended at home. This is only done for educational purposes.
Well, I wouldn't not recommend it.
Okay.
I have 2 hours and 14 minutes damage on the fleet right now.
Your
Okay.
mind reader, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Did you just finish? Well, yeah, I guess you couldn't have been too
Yeah, I
much.
finished one about an hour ago.
So you had 3 hours and almost 4
I
hours?
had 3 hours, 22 minutes the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Everest fleet recommended. Luckily, nothing shoots at you once you're in the target. There are a bunch of the meteor mortars in here, close around, the ice fields that slow you, the vulture missile turrets. This is the Hellstar, very high health. Some of the more of these vulture missiles, the Gore Saber, and the Brimstones that have the fairly high damage.
There's more than one. Is there only 2 in there?
Yeah, there's 2.
2? Okay.
For some reason, they sometimes show up. I guess they start with the range wing showing up, and then I don't know.
Why can't they start us with baby targets?
Well, supposedly this is.
Gosh. This isn't going to be like a 120.
Supposedly, this thing's going to get harder. This is tuned for a 4 Everest ship fleet.
Are we going to be able to auto with the Everest?
I'm sure that I'm sure that the answer to that is yes. I try to get out of the ice field here because the ice field does a ton of damage.
Oh,
Or it doesn't do damage, it slows your reload, rather.
Okay.
I should probably keep moving. This thing's got really high health.
Sure does.
And it's tricky to use Praetorians here because they have a short range, which disadvantages them. They also have a... they can't shoot through mountains, which disadvantages them. And they are affected super by ice fields. Okay, watch my health bar on the bottom right as I go against the brimstone missile. I enter the range, it's going to start shooting at me. And it takes a while because it's a very high arc range to get to it. It doesn't seem to be doing a whole ton. Certainly not half the fleet at once, although it is splash.
They don't miss either.
Uh-oh. Those look like the hunter killer mortars.
They're not nearly as painful. Although with all the different projectiles, I can't quite tell what's actually hurting me, or if it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts. But my projectile speed is really, really low to shoot down these mortars, especially when I'm far away from them.
So do you think that's a function of the ice fields or just across the board?
Just across the board.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, damage was some explosive, and I guess I did shoot down with countermeasures 2%, enough to show 2% on this screen, but more damage was explosive than penetrative.
What anti-penetrative do you have on your...
I have 2 missile defense system 3s. I've been told that sprints don't fire at all on this target. So I have 2 missile defense system 3s and then some evade. Most of it is on the flag.
So that 2 work for you, you think?
I think you'll probably need much more, but I need to do some more systematic slowed down one ship at a time testing to, I guess, figure that out.
Do you think an anti-ship?
I don't know, because we can only go up to 4 countermeasures on 1 Everest. So I'm not sure. Well, if I had 2 hours and 14 minutes damage before, this run was 2 hours and carry the 6, factorial, 43 minutes, 42 minutes damage.
Okay.
Is that right?
That was a better run than your first one, then, actually.
244 on this run.
Okay, so improvement from your last run, but worth the points relative to your other targets?
Probably not, comparing it to the other 130. Probably not comparing it to the 135, whatever else we have.
Okay. Alrighty.
Unless
Personally,
unless it's seat time you're trying to avoid.
Always, when it comes to chores like this.
all right. I mean, it appears to be a bit of a soft opening. I think, it appears you can still use the Praetorian to a certain degree if you want to. I'm still at a loss, as like we talked about earlier, as far as how to progress with our builds on the Everest. Do we continue, just leave the armor off, like we said earlier, and hope it shows up on TBC day or some other point in time? I don't know.
Do we wait and see how people are doing in the target that have coined it all and done it all?
Or do you just do the slow play? And it really depends, because we don't know how much downtime. Like right now, personally, I'm just putting on the Icefall mortars and the K2 special onto my Everest. But actually, at this point, I took a break from doing anything with that. I had some leftover FM tokens, and I think I used 2 of the Everest tokens that we got in the raid, and I have 4 of them with one has 1 extra mortar, but they have 2 mortars and the K2 special on 3 of them, and 1 has 3 mortars. I took a break from that to level up my flag for the my Mutineer flag, because we're going to have just for an easier time to do the TLC that I expect is going to drop next week. That will allow us to get more Mutineer upgrade tokens.
That will be the same TLC Mutiny on the Bounty that it was before, right?
Yeah, that's my assumption. That's what we've been told. So the reason I want to upgrade the flag is because it self-generates the ammo as a self-generation aura at X1 and there was no ammo ships in that target. So now, because we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the Freedom Fist doesn't really do anything. It's just sort of, it just sort of sits there and looks pretty. It doesn't really do a lot of damage. It's the main thing is the proto ammo or whatever it's called that does the real damage coming from the Mutineer. And the flagship has the ability to has an aura that generates 1 every 2 seconds, I think, for the entirety of your fleet. So that's more of my strategy as far as what I'm looking at as far as doing that. Let's see. We have what do we have an announcement about? We have an announcement about. Oh, it's Lady Cat's favorite. I was hoping for the calendar.
Poster!
Yeah. Let me see. Maybe I'll just read it if it's quick and easy. But that's what I'm doing. But as far as like putting on armors later, do you know how much time we're going to have? Because right now it feels like with an extra week and all the tokens they've been throwing, they threw at us as far as upgrading our Mutineer already in the raid previously, and then what we actually expect for Mutineer and the Bounty. It feels like they're making extra time for us to do some building, and maybe they'll look at that again as far as putting on armors and engines and whatever specials.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than just finishing it finally your build, and then they change it before you even get a chance to use the full thing.
Well, let's do some quick back of the envelope math on the base armor you have from running 4 Everests in a fleet, or the base survival you have from 4 Everests in a fleet, is 2560 times 4, which is let's just say 10,000. The armor, if you were using, I assume that people will go with the F2 XM armor.
F2?
The folded ferrite F2.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
F2 XM armor. That would add 12,000 survival. If I plug those numbers into the, so it will double your survival, but let's remember that doesn't correspond to a half the damage you actually end up taking. If I plug that into my survival calculator Excel spreadsheet, a ship with just the basic 10,000 survival versus 22,000 and 22,240 survival. Let's see. With just the basic 10,000 survival, you take 55% of the incoming damage. With the with all the F2 XM armor, you would take 36% of the incoming damage.
Okay. And how much? Go ahead.
It's a percent. So I think if you have an armored ship versus a non-armored ship, you'll have a reduction in repair time of approximately 1/3.
Okay.
So if you took 3 hours damage on a target with no armor, you should take 2 hours damage with armor.
Okay. But the big question that I have is, when is the next generation of armor going to come out? As Lady Cat brought up earlier, as soon as she thinks as soon as she puts the armor out, the next day they're going to drop out. They're going to drop the new armor that's twice as good.
Yeah, they're watching.
How many days? How many days does it take to outfit that first? Your first 5 ships at this point. Or soon it'll be 5 ships. And how much time do you have available with the upcoming build cycles for your other PvE ships? If that makes sense.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's like if the armor's coming in 2 weeks from now, I definitely leave it off. But if it's coming in 6 months from now, obviously you need to put it on.
Yeah.
But I can't recall the exact wording on the post, but it said something about over the next couple of months they're going to dribble it. Is
the armor going to come at the front of that next couple of months or the last?
I don't know. Is it a couple of months or is it 6 months?
Yeah, or is it one of these Saw type situations?
Or that. I mean, we don't want to invest in something that is obsolete before we finish, which happens to me in PvP, or it used to anyway. Yeah, we don't want to invest if it's going to be obsolete by the time we're finished. I'd rather just wait and auto 120s if I have to. But then again, if I'm going to have empty shipyard time, once I upgrade my fleet, my mutineer fleet, I'll have empty shipyard time until the next ship comes along. I mean, I could be building. So I don't know.
Yeah, The big decision point comes as far as when the timing is going to be, in a couple of months, and I expect a new engine and new armor associated with this ship, if not yet another special. And then when are the upgrades going to drop? Because originally there was upgrade tokens,
kits,
kits in the raid already. Then they pulled them because there was no upgrades listed. So that's that's the other part of it. You're going to have to spend time building and then upgrading. Yeah, it's a little. I don't know. I might retreat until my autoing 127s bubble until this is figured out personally.
But
Well, we should expect to have this target right here, this 160 for 3 months, which you can do well enough with a Praetorian fleet. So there's no need to me for at least 3 months to get your Everest fleet finished.
also, they're probably going to be offering TLCs, and in Village they'll have tokens and things.
Yep. Yeah.
So, they're going to be hopefully lending a helping hand to help us get there. But it's hard to plan. It's just really hard to plan. And we have to plan this game. So.
Yeah, and so at this point, we have, is it 10 weapon slots and 4 of them are countermeasure possible?
Yes, that's 4 of them are countermeasure possible. That's correct.
Okay, so right now, I guess the next step is figuring out what, at least at this point, it could vary from target to target. How many, what's the mix of countermeasures? Do you need to have 4 or 20 per fleet? A lot of unknowns at this point in time.
Well, I'm thinking you need to do something because my Praetorians, the countermeasures were really, really slow. So maybe you should have 1 or 2 ships that have a super high projectile speed for your countermeasures and 3 ships that have more damage.
Yeah, see, that makes sense to me because I'm going to want to put my countermeasure specials on my 1 or 2 countermeasure ships and then put my high damage ships as the other. I just never know because there's no flag listed. Is the flag going to work better as a countermeasure ship or a damage ship?
Or does the flag give everything plus 100 projectile speed?
Yeah. So that makes the difference as well on how I want to build my fleet.
I didn't know. Did you have a constant down arrow? Like a down arrow, no matter where you were in the target.
I'm gonna have to watch this back, which should take me just a second.
Okay, because sometimes they will be sneaky and they will put something off the map that is a beacon.
No, I don't have a constant down arrow.
Okay. All right, so that takes that away. So
only when I'm in the ice fields and somewhere else.
Uh-oh.
I have one in the top right corner of the target, and I don't know why it's there.
Because sometimes they will throw in things that are covering a big part of the map or all of the map that they don't talk about. That's either reducing your damage or projectile speed or whatnot that could be out there. Lady Cat, I sent you a link to your most recent obsession. If you want to post that, I'm going to remove you from screen sharing so you can bring that up.
Okay.
And the Google search that you tried earlier today. They provided it to me, so my idea is still valid if I choose to move forward.
Awesome. Let's see.
Well, I sent you the link, but okay, you can find it.
Sorry, I don't have Facebook up right.
Okay.
Contest.
All right, you're back on. All right, submit a movie from Wednesday. Okay, today until the 21st. 2 submissions per person.
Woohoo!
Okay, must be form friendly, safe for work.
No, seriously? So does that mean no or seriously?
I don't understand because the kids nowadays, like, no is yes and yes is I have no idea. So maybe.
Well, no means no. Yeah, just
Okay.
no.
Okay. But must be about battle pirates, points for creativity and quality, whatever quality means. And winners will be announced by end of day Friday, July 24th. Okay.
Awesome.
20 Everest 5 times 24 plus 25 gold.
The 25 gold is a joke. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, not so much. The last prize was me.
the tokens are great. One of those tokens is worth 48 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They're awesome.
so if you have 25 gold, that's just sort of I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they need to add a 0 on all of these.
Actually,
50, 150, 100.
250 gold.
do you know how many people would enter the contest if they put 250 gold on it? Even although they
But
might,
250 gold is not like crazy.
oh, it's crazy for me. I would take it.
Yeah, I mean it's like if it's
Me?
on special, it's like $12, and you win whatnot. So we'll see. Is there a theme besides Battle Pirates?
There's Battle Pirates.
Yeah, scroll up. There's no looking.
It's just battle pirates.
Oh, and they want us to look at the War Commander movie poster contest for no, we don't want to do that.
They actually look fairly good. I'm looking at them and they look pretty good.
Oh wow.
Okay. Well, that was me. Well, I don't know who Private Weaver is, but that one was.
Are you enjoying the names?
Actually, they did a good job on these. So yeah,
I like the second one. The second one's my favorite.
Saving Private Weaver.
Yeah.
No, they did real good.
The first one, the winner, I don't quite get, but yeah, the second one is that's quality.
The winner, the bottom one, the winner one, looks like a real movie poster.
Yeah, that's very high quality.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well-
it's very creative. So awesome.
Okay.
Okay, back to the slides.
Yeah, well, no, back to the because there's more.
Oh, there's more. What?
There's more as part of this post.
Oh, is this
Okay,
post?
and she's also provided
Awesome.
artwork assets that some of this which you can't talk about. I've already talked about.
Awesome.
Yes, as far
I
as
want to hear what you're talking about.
There's some other assets I might want.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering where I can get some more assets.
Yeah.
Maybe I could ask. Maybe I could direct message somebody on Discord and ask for some assets.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, she's obviously having a good time with this, but
I will have more fun with this than I will have doing that damn FM. Sorry.
okay. Alrighty. Well, let's go back to the slides. All right, and the next slide is hold fast. How did everybody do holding onto the anchor for the last 6 days?
I didn't sing.
Okay.
Better than I thought.
Okay. I mean, I guess the obvious question is, at least for me, what would was there some obvious things that you would want changed prior to the next iteration of this raid cycle?
Yes.
Oh hell yeah!
Okay. And what would those be?
Be able to see the projectiles coming at you. Be able to
Red
see
ring.
the damn rings on the water.
Yeah, maybe make it so they don't actually hit you and go under your ship, and you can't see until all
You
of a
don't
sudden
even know until you see the red flag flash up.
the health bar going down.
Right. Ed, it was a little better if you played close up. A little better, but it wasn't fantastic.
I didn't think about that. That might have helped some.
It helped a little. It wasn't panacea, but it would be nice to see where those darn things are going. So
Or if they just wouldn't last as long. if they went away quicker.
Or give half the damage.
Or
'Cause half the time you're sitting in them and you don't even know it, and all of a sudden you look up because you're watching their target, trying to concentrate on your target, not realizing you're getting smacked.
Yeah.
I passed that suggestion, make it change. Asked if there were plans to change it, and it may or may not be. I was told it might be constrained by their current system, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think that if you change the color to something more vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't be a very complicated change.
It would help.
Totally different, like blue or something. So that it didn't, or something, so it didn't get lost under the colors of your rangefinder.
Or make it dark red. I mean, instead of just a pale kind of.
And
Or make your
change
ship,
make it
ship
less transparent.
make your ship catch on fire when it's in it.
That wouldn't be bad. I mean, because you don't know unless you see that red flag come up, and it's like, oh, shit.
For the most part, I could avoid it. I can avoid them or use patience, which is not one of my virtues. But that was very good advice from Hefe, was to use patience. And if you did that, you could either wait them out or find other ways, other paths you could deal with it.
What helped me was playing close up, watching both the target and my ship, and then, those two things, and that did kind of help. And then wait to go fetch the one at the bottom until most of those rings were fading out.
Well, you can't say the bottom because you don't.
Yeah, okay. I played it from the top down, so
the target changed. It depended on which route. I mean,
I played it the same every time. I always went to the top and then the bottom, but that's just me. So
yeah, I played it different based on the target I went into, which I appreciate the fact that they tried to make it so that the targets were a little bit different, which sort of takes away target fatigue. It just added a different kind of fatigue.
But I got everywhere from 9 minutes to like 2 hours,
Yeah, I got instant on the map once.
I never did that. Not once.
And then I got 2 hours another time. So yeah, it's hard to be consistent with the randomness of it, with those red rings. And
yeah,
that was the hard part.
It's I don't like the mechanic how you have to some extent get lucky to avoid taking damage.
Yep.
I'm fine taking damage when I mess up and I enter the range or whatever else. I'm fine with the guaranteed minimum damage from the torpedoes that we can't outrange. That's that they need something on the target. I guess there's that. I'm not fine with randomly getting an hour damage through basically no fault of my own.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm with you.
It was a long raid week. I mean, it just felt long. I had to do a little bit every day, which was fine, which I do anyway. My goal was to get to 60 million. I didn't quite make it, but I did get close enough. I was happy with what I got and what I did, but it wasn't an easy route. I got to where I just hated doing it, and I feel bad because I know they really tried on the targets. They tried to make it fun and interesting, but because of the problems, it wasn't.
I got about 65 million, and I still could have gotten 7 different Unir build tokens.
Yeah, I could have gone for those, but I would have liked a few. But hopefully a TLC is coming, because there's some armor I'd like to change up a little bit before the next raid. I did find upgrades mattered, especially for the 120. I bought the deal to go to U3, and I used all my tokens to get one ship to X1. I actually did that first, and then I bought the deal, which helped. I think the raid was too high for a lot of players. I know a lot of players didn't come close to getting enough points.
I got 60, but took me the whole raid, and I did a little bit of prepping for a couple of guys, but not a whole lot. So
it was frustrating for a lot of players, I think. So it's just making a lot of players fall behind. I didn't prep. How easy was it to prep?
Well, I slow repaired. I said, look, I can do a set and I'm going to go away for a while.
Yeah, but how easy was it to prep for someone else? Were these targets easy to
Yeah,
prep?
because you leave one of those ammo.
At the ammo carriers, yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. That's
Yeah, so it was like, I didn't do a lot, but I did probably 3 sets or so. I did one. I ended up with 2.5 hours damage sometimes. I said, okay, I'm going to go away for 2.5 hours. It's what I did. I didn't spend a dime to repair on this raid.
I
Not
used.
even my mistake.
I did some coin. I did some 1 hour tokens, and I used grease monkeys quite a few times. When I really
buy the package though, I did buy the package.
I can auto a 120 with the grease monkey on for instant in the base or close to it,
with the
grease monkey on
with what fleet?
with the mutineers.
Yeah, I haven't tried that.
I could auto a 120. For instant, instant in the base or maybe a minute repair.
I would just auto at the end of the.
Yeah.
I never actually hit a 120. I just autoed them all, and I was able to get like 10 of them done. And then I would hit the 122s when I actually wanted to play.
I actually did some 509s.
I did quite a few 509s and 601s at the very end. The last 2-3 days.
Did your puppies behave? Because my little puppies.
Well, you have to tell them what to do before they leave the ship, and then they behave.
They would go after the ship pretty well, but they never went after the island, the turrets. They would try to head for the closest ship. Usually, the drones were worthless. But the lag wasn't bad, which is good. I appreciate the fact that whatever lag problem they had seemed to have been okay in that target.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button, folks.
Alrighty. I put the link in the right-hand side in case anybody'd like to join the after show. And is there anything else we need to cover? But, the big points is, just the random damage that we received in the 122 target. And I didn't even hit the 509 or whatever the fuck the other one was. It just was, it was just too random to be efficient.
And I don't care about the mortar itself being random. I care about not being able to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was, because, especially if you're running HTML5 and it seems to be touch and go, whether in the top left-hand corner, you can see your damage because, just comes in. Next thing you know, it's underneath you. And, I don't know how it adds up as far as the number of clicks, but sometimes I look up and I'm not taking any damage, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it out of this with 12 minutes of damage in this 122. And then, boom, I'm like an hour and a half of damage. It's just not good.
Yeah, and I have the wrong skin on my ship for this target. I really like that skin though, because there's a red or pink hibiscus on it.
Yeah.
But it sort of added a little touch of redness where I needed to be looking for the red of that down arrow. I had so many things to have to look at between the top left, the little blue and white icon, little dots going off, the down arrow, where the ships are, where the red rings are. Am I close enough to the ammo ship? There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, and I agree with Dynamite. This is what I said on the last Friday's show. Yeah, the circle needs to show up on top of your ship, not below your ship, because if it hits you, dead on, you don't even see it. And if you're using HTML5, you're not even going to see that you're taking damage.
That's the point.
And I kept getting the gray square a lot, like Mike did, and when he did it on the show last week. There's like a gray square of pixels around your ship, which made it.
It comes and goes, yeah.
That red ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't send any tickets or anything.
That could be a memory thing with the computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have to send a ticket, so that I guess is good. But it was a long, hard, exhausting raid.
I also did not like on the 509 how you could spawn inside of a cloud.
Yeah, whenever I did that, I just retreat.
Yeah, I occasionally didn't realize that and click start battle, or wasn't quite able to load up the battle before it started.
Sometimes it was hard to tell because it looked like you were on the edge of the cloud and not in the cloud.
Yeah, and the screen is covering the like
Yeah.
your crew screen, your start battle screen is covering your ships.
Yeah, there's like, yeah, I had that problem occasionally as well. But most of the time I could tell. And if I did spawn in a cloud, I would just retreat. But I was in a habit by then from the 122s of making sure I didn't hit the go button until I looked around and saw my openings and saw where everything was in relation to me and whether this entrance was a good entrance or not. And I would retreat and enter somewhere else, which just adds more clicks and more time. And, I'd rather we just come in and same spot. Everything's the same. Clouds don't move. Wings don't fall on you. But it is what it is. I appreciate their efforts, but
Is it just me, or does it seem sometimes like what Hefe was saying, they want a minimum damage and they change criticals or something just to get it? It just feels like you're almost got it. Like I'm finally going to get near base repair. Boom. Oops.
well,
I don't know if that's what I was saying, but there is I think you combine.
It's a feeling you get, though. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm getting out of this good for once, and then boom, all of a sudden you're like, oh, damn.
The critical chance on the drones is are you saying that increases over time in the target, or inversely proportional to your health? They have that coded in.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
yeah, they see you doing good, and they're gonna say, "Not so fast."
I don't know if I agree with that theory, but yeah, it's.
No, I don't.
It's not the most outlandish one I've ever heard.
It's pure paranoia or tinfoil hat, but it does feel like it sometimes. You're like looking at the red and going, "Wow, I'm getting out of this one really well," and all of a sudden the red bar just goes boom. But I think it's just this really the critical chances. I really don't criticals. They're great for a role playing game, but criticals in a game like this are just annoying. In
what
both
kind of role playing game we
directions.
talking about?
Well, like Dungeons.
he was going in a whole different direction. Just in case you figured it out, Kenny.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out now. I was talking Dungeons and Dragons, but he was just talking Dungeons.
Yeah. There's no dragons in his story. So, okay. Now that we're ending on a high point, the link's there in case anybody wants to join the after show, and we'll be back on Friday when I don't know. Are we going to learn anything between now and then? We're still expecting to see the. I expect before the end of the night we're going to see the PVE calendar. Hopefully, that the PVE calendar will include the TBC day week, because it only promises August and September, but I hope it includes the last week of July. And what's the? Oh, and we're also supposed to get an update on the Saw Factory. So
Today?
Well, yeah, I'm expecting, I'm expecting the PVE calendar is going to drop tonight. But yeah, as far as the rest of it, I don't know. So,
well, hopefully we'll have something new to talk about Friday.
Yeah. So, Alrighty, people. Links there if you want to join. And if not, we will see you Friday night. And best of luck with the FM. And remember to wear your mask and wash your hands. And we will see you then.
Good night, all.
Hide in Canada.